Welcome to this latest Emerging Threats Group video. In this video we are going to do a red flag style scenario where we put 4th generation fighters, in this case the Royal Air Force Typhoon FGR-4, against the United States Air Force F-15C Eagle over Nevada near Nellis Air Force Base. Blue Force will indeed be flying out of Nellis and Red Force will be flying out of Naval Air Station Fallon up in North Nevada. The Blue Force today will consist of 12 Eurofighter Typhoons with 1 Wedgetail in for support. The US Red Team will have F-15C Eagle fighters, which are the latest version of this aircraft, and also have a Wedgetail for support. The F-15C does have an absolutely outstanding combat ratio. It has 104 kills against, well, to no losses, which means it really is the fighter to beat from the 4th generation era. Typhoon, on the other hand, is a newer, arguably 4.5 gen aircraft, and it has seen mostly air-to-ground engagements in areas like Libya, Syria and Iraq. Back in December 2021, it did shoot down an unmanned aerial system with the ASRAAM missile, but that's about its only air-to-air kill, if you can call that really an air-to-air kill. Moving on to more of an overview on the systems and weapons on these aircraft. The bottom line here is that the Typhoon does have an advantage in most situations, as it is a newer airframe and with newer equipment on board. Where it does have a disadvantage is that its Captor M radar is a mechanically scanned radar, not the same AESA that is carried on a lot of aircraft, including this version of the F-15C Eagle, meaning that it does have a worse chance of detecting the Eagle, but its Pirate infrared surf and track is more advanced than the one carried on the Talon hate pod, which is what the F-15C carries in this circumstance. The Meteor does have a longer range than the Delta model AMRAAM and has the ramjet propulsion, and the AIM 132 ASRAAM also has a longer range and a bigger motor on it, meaning that it can also go faster than the Sidewinder. All in all, the Typhoon does have the advantage in the weapons loadout here. We will crack on with the video, and feel free to make your predictions. I mean, surely this has got to be a win for the Typhoon, right? So we have our Typhoons flying over southern Nevada, just outside of Las Vegas. The Eagles and their Wedgetail support are up to the north near Fallon, as you can see here, and our Wedgetail is behind here. One disadvantage that the Typhoon does have is that it does not have the AESA radar in this, meaning that the Eagles may actually get a first look on the Typhoon. However, the Typhoon should get the first kill with their Meteor missiles. We will speed up the situation, and now we do have a bead on the F-15s. They are still quite far away. It was the Wedgetail that detected them at just under 350 nautical miles away. One thing that is worth pointing out is that the Eagle does not really have much in the way of radar cross-section reduction. The Typhoon does, but again it's nothing anywhere near as stealthy as an F-35 or F-22. It's in strictly the low observable features category, same with aircraft like the Gripen, Super Hornet and the RAF AL. Maybe aircraft like the Chinese J-10 as well, and maybe some of the Russian flankers, but again, none of them are anywhere near as low observable as the F-22 or F-35. At the moment, the Typhoons cannot get a bead on the F-15s without the help of the Wedgetail. And one thing that is useful is the Typhoons do carry Pirate, which is a very good, very advanced infrared surf and track system. It does have the ability to provide fire control data, which not many infrared search and track features can do that. The F-35 certainly can, and maybe some of the offshoots of that, which the Chinese and Russians have also developed, they might be able to do that. It's not entirely clear how good their technology is. We have now finally identified the Eagles as Eagles at about 61 nautical miles. Typhoons have fired first, as is expected with the Meteor. Both sides are set to fire at no escape zone range, meaning that both sides are going to struggle to dodge the other side's missiles in this. However, it does give both sides a higher chance of a kill. One good thing about the Meteor's ramjet is it does keep its speed up for longer, making it harder to dodge and giving it a larger no escape zone. But the AMRAAM, certainly the Delta model, is an advanced missile, and it isn't exactly the easiest weapon to dodge either. Both of these weapons only have active radar seekers, neither of them have infrared backups on board, unlike some of the weapons in the database. As you can see, our Typhoons are engaging. They are taking losses, but they have killed more Eagles. I estimate there's about 6 Eagles left at this point, and we may have lost about 3 or 4 Typhoons. The Typhoons do have towed decoys, which do give them the slight edge on dodging missiles, as well as active chaff, and the electronic warfare systems on the Typhoon are slightly more advanced than that of the Charlie model Eagle. That was a good bit of dodging there by those Typhoons, and they are now going to afterburners to catch the difference between that Eagle, who is trying to run away. At this point, it looks like Typhoons have lost 6 aircraft and shot down 11 Eagles, and they've just fired a Meteor there. This is going to be a bit of a tail chase. It'll be interesting to see if this Meteor can catch the Eagle, especially because the Eagle, it has slowed down a bit and it has now turned in towards the Meteor. Did dodge it, and it did manage to get AMRAAM off as well. See if our Typhoons can dodge that. Yes, they can, and there are another 2 Meteors coming towards it. And it looks like these Typhoons are closing to him as ram range to try and finish it off as well, but that was not necessary. That is all 12 Eagles destroyed, and let's just confirm what our Typhoon losses were. Yep, so 6 Typhoons destroyed for 12 Eagles, almost 50 Meteor missiles were fired, and also several towed decoys were used. All 12 Eagles were destroyed, and they fired 40 AMRAAMs. Now it is time to see the fight from the Eagles' point of view. So we have reloaded the situation, and now we'll watch how the Eagles go up against the Typhoons. So this is from the red team point of view. As you can see, the Typhoon's older radar has immediately given it away to the electronic warfare capability on the wedge tail. Our Eagles are already heading towards the target, or most of them are. Some are taking the long way around. At the moment, they are not heading all that quickly towards the target. They do know that there is an enemy out there, but there's no point in going to afterburner yet. In fact, one advantage the Eagle probably does over the Typhoon probably is a slightly longer range. Typhoon has several disadvantages. One is its lack of stealth, which they can't really do much about. The other is it's not the longest ranged fighter ever. They were talking about putting conformal fuel tanks on it, but that seems to have died a death. And another Typhoon disadvantage is its lack of AOA capability, which it does suffer from in a dogfight, but it is more of an energy dogfighter, so it's not necessarily a huge disadvantage. And there are actually programs in place that may or may not come to fruition, called the advanced, I think it's something like the AMK. It's to do with modifying the avionics and the airframe slightly, giving it more of a... It basically improves the performance and takes away one of its biggest disadvantages in the fact it can't really do high AOA fights. The Eagle, on the other hand, it's not as nimble as the F-16, but again, it is a respected dogfighter, and it's definitely the king of BVR back in the 1980s. It's only really the Tomcat with its Phoenix missiles that could do better than the Eagle. And as you know, the Eagles did amazingly well in the 1991 Gulf War. One of the advantages they had was that I believe their radars could actually count the engine blades in the enemy fighters, meaning that they could actually engage beyond visual range, unlike most of the other coalition fighters, which were banned from doing so until they got into visual range to stop blue-on-blue incidents. As you can see here, our Eagles have identified the Typhoons using their own radars at this point, and they did it at just under 95 nautical miles. As you can remember from the last part of the video, Typhoons weren't able to actually identify the Eagles until about the 62 nautical mile point. However, the ramjet-powered Meteor really does give the Typhoon the advantage. Even if it doesn't get the first look, it does get the first shot and the first kill in most circumstances. And indeed, here come the Meteor missiles. Our Eagles have returned fire and are attempting to dodge, but the Meteor is not the easiest missile to get out of the way of. Although it looks like they may have all managed it there. It looks like the Eagles may actually have scored the first kill in this circumstance. But there goes the first Eagle. As you can tell, the missiles, both the AMRAAM and the Meteor, do fly on lofted trajectories. It does give them copious amounts of energy when they come back down, especially at this kind of range where neither side can really outrun the other side's missiles. It all is all about using your defensive electronic countermeasures, your chaff, and pulling hard maneuvers, and maybe a little bit of cranking and dragging as well to try and get the missiles to miss, but at this kind of range that's less effective. At the moment it does look like the Typhoons have killed slightly more Eagles. Yeah, there goes another one, although a Typhoon did die as well. These two Eagles have still got all their missiles on board. Looks like another Eagle's bit the dust. I believe that might just be 2 Eagles left now. The Typhoons are closing in for the kill. Trying our best to maybe take another Typhoon with them. But it looks like there's only 1 Eagle left now. He has fired his all but 1 AMRAAM left, and that's now also been fired. He has taken a Typhoon with him. Will he take another? No, not quite. Doesn't look like it. Looks like the Typhoons, being the more agile aircraft, did dodge those missiles, and now it may be... Oh no, it's a Meteor been fired, but that was definitely an ASRAAM that was hit then, and it did destroy the final Eagle. We'll take a look at the scores on the doors. And in which case there was only 5 Typhoons destroyed that time and 12 Eagles. 47 Meteors were fired against 42 AMRAAMs. If you look at the amount of missiles to kill ratio, even like with modern missiles, it's still not a great ratio. It shows that your taxpayers will be spending a lot of money on a lot of missiles that are not necessarily going to kill targets. It also shows how effective that the Typhoon decoys are. It did use 10 of them in this case. We did actually run this scenario 10 previous times before the 2 you've just seen, so the previous 2 run-throughs are not included on this PowerPoint, but we did run it 10 previous times, and if you look at the results, there was only 1 occasion where the F-15Cs actually came out on top, and that was in sortie number 8. If you do look, the 2-to-1 ratio that the Typhoons get, so for every 2 Eagles destroyed, 1 Typhoon is destroyed. That does seem to be quite consistent across the scenarios. So the 2 we've just ran are not statistical anomalies. It does seem like the Typhoon is the better aircraft, and this probably should not be surprising that it is roughly a 1980s to 1990s airframe with 2000s technology on it, whereas the Eagle is maybe an early 1970s airframe with maybe 70s, 80s and sometimes 90s technology on it. However, we are going to give the Eagle round 2, where it's going to be its younger, fitter and tougher brother, which is the F-15E X-ray model, the Eagle 2, up against the Typhoon with the more advanced radar. So in the next video we will do that, and please do like and subscribe, and let us know what other 4th generation fighters you'd like to go see go up against each other over Nevada. We will then be also progressing on to 5th gens against each other and against 4th gens just to see who comes out on top. But yes, please do let us know if you have any ideas or feedback. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and have a great rest of your day.